staying tuned to the Nigerian Television Authority Network Service, broadcasting from our studios here in the FCT. My name is Cecil Egbele, and you're watching the Medley Show with Cecil. All right, week after week, we bring you different topics. We get to discuss about it, all trying to make an impact and see how we can sometimes relax, get to inform us, entertain us. Today is going to be quite educative and informative. Now ask me why. Okay, good. You've asked me why. We will be talking fire. Fire, fire everywhere. I don't know, just in the last 1 month, I think from when the Harmattan season started, we've just realized that there's been so much fire around from the north, east, west, south, and everywhere. It's been all fire. And we really wonder why. Yes, if you ask those fire safety experts, they'll tell you it's the Harmattan season. It comes with the season. That's well, even mid-year, we still have so many of that fire. Well, fire will be the focus of our discourse today on the Medley Show. And just before you get to meet my guest and who will educate us and inform us, I would like you to get all your questions ready, because you get to send questions to us and about fire. Tell us about safety measures of fire you know. Tell us issues of fire you want sorted out. And our number is 081-177-8-2020. Like I said, just before you meet my guest, it's time for us to have a background, and this background is going to come in form of market fires. Yes, many of the fires we've witnessed have been fires in different markets across the country. So we put this together on market fires in the last 1 year, just a few of them. All right, so let's have a look at it, and I'll be back. A number of fire disasters visited various markets across the country. Here are just a few. A popular market located in Balogun, Lagos State was consumed by fire on Wednesday, December 15, 2021, and lasted through Thursday morning. While the fire raged, goods worth millions of naira were burnt down just a few days to Christmas. Earlier on the 17th of December, a popular planks and building materials market in Ejigbo, Lagos State was also consumed by fire. The plaza, which consisted of 378 shops, had a section of the Katsina Central Market was on fire on Monday the 22nd of March 2021. The flame destroyed lots of shops, numbering over 100. In Bauchi State on December 22nd, 2021, the Muda Lawal Foodstuff Market was gutted by fire. The fire burned till the early hours of the next morning, destroying lots of properties. Still in Bauchi State on the 12th of February 2021, 90 shops at the Bababa Plaza, Wuti, were razed down by fire, with goods worth over 50 million naira. The FCT was not spared in the fire disasters, as a 3-story building of Ebano supermarket located in Lokogoma area of Abuja was completely razed down by fire. 6 months later in Abuja, another popular supermarket, Next Cash and Carry, had its share of fire disasters before the year 2021 came to an end, as the raging flames started on the morning of Boxing Day and lasted through the next day after a combined effort of firefighters. These are just a few of the fire disasters that raged markets across the country. Sadly, if I ask you, I know you know 1 or 2 markets that have been gutted by fire over this period of time. Anyhow, it's time for us to talk fire and fire safety. And I have with me Assistant Controller Kayode John of the FCT Fire Service. So you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Not meaning to, let me first of all start with an attack. You know, when there are fires like this, you are always the easy ones to blame. It's very easy to blame the fire service. So really, so there are complaints that the fire service come late. I don't know if you've heard. Okay, you heard that. They'll say, fire service came 1 hour before, after the fire. They say, they came with empty tank and there's no water. So let me throw these questions that everybody's been throwing to you. What is happening? Is it true that you usually come with no water? And is it true that you come very late?
Well, I want to say again that the populace and the people around the residents of the FCT and other parts of the country, sometimes have this impression that fire service is not really prompt. We don't come out in time, and we don't have water in our tanks.
Yeah, so that's what they say.
But that's quite wrong. That's quite wrong. I will tell you one. We have, turnout time. Whenever there's a call to our any of our offices, any of our fire stations, 5 minutes, is just what a standard timing for turning out is. And this is under normal circumstances, when the roads are okay, when there are not blocks. I mean, there are no obstacles on our way in terms of moving out. And therefore, we move from as much as the call is made to our station, to any of our control rooms or any of the fire stations, we move immediately. Most of the vehicles we really have are already on standby. The drivers are standby. The fire officers and the firefighters are also ready to move.
Okay.
So everything is just ready. It's just a matter of getting the call, and then we'll be on our way. But then, subject to all the conditions.
Okay, I guess that's
free, and then, like in Nigeria, where you have to blow all the sirens, and then nobody have the respect for the siren.
Yes, I was going to tell you, you blow the siren and everybody will clear off.
So that's one. Then two, you talk about the issue of not having water in our, firefighting the truck. That's not true. Ordinarily, one thing about the issue of fighting fire is that in a civilized society where there's the construction and then the building of society is right, you must have fire sources of water for fighting fire. We have hydrants located in strategic positions where you can easily, connect your firefighting truck.
Do we have those hydrants around?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But you see, another thing is that number one, they are not enough. Number two, they are not maintained.
Who installs the hydrant? Is it you or is it the facility owner?
It's the facility owner.
Okay, now let's take the very popular Ebano fire.
Yeah.
So what was the challenge for that?
You are not even allowed me to even say, because now you have attacked me. Let me also attack you.
No, you have...
Now, first of all, I will go to Ebano.
Okay, very quickly.
The issue of the water, not having water.
Okay.
Now look, I've just told you there should have been hydrants. The one, there are some, but they are not enough, number one. And two, the ones that are available are not even maintained. The government has the responsibility of, doing all of this, and the public too. Sometimes because they could not source water from the normal place they're supposed to get their water, potable water, they have to turn to using the hydrant and then overused it. And then the issue of security is another thing. And overusing it, they don't know the value, they don't know what it's meant for, and therefore, and since they couldn't get water from normal sources, they have to make use of that, and then they blow it off sometimes.
So, but the water in the hydrant is the same width? Is our regular water? Or
it's regular water.
Okay.
It's only what we need from there is the higher pressure for us to be able to fill our tank when we are done. Or if we are going to even fight the fire directly, we just plug our hose and then we keep on fighting depending on what.
Yeah, but you get to these places sometimes either they are not there or
the water, they have broken the head. Standing pipe, they have broken the head and everything. They could be the keys, and then we could not just find the water they bought for us. Judging with this kind of situation we have around us, we have to make alternative arrangement. So this time around, you see us when we are moving out with a fire truck. We have 1,000 liter, 10,000 liters tankers, that are following the truck, such that as soon as the fire truck gets there and start fighting the fire, you see, as soon as it's running out of water, the water tanker is refilling it. And while it's still continuing fighting, the water tanker goes back to go and refill and come to refill it again. So we have decided to, find a way out of this situation.
Okay, now let's go to Ebano.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, someone had mentioned that at Ebano, there is just one entry and exit, so that was part of the challenge, true?
Good, very good.
Okay, so give us a picture using Ebano as an instance of what is not an ideal.
Okay, good. Very good. In Ebano supermarket, just like we have said, first of all, for such kind of a complex structure, with several compartments within that, supermarket. It is stocked up with a lot of materials. You're getting me? In any building at all, of course, there are several compartments. If it's a building, normal regular building, you have several compartments, the rooms and all the other places. Then we have the kitchen and all the rest of them. When you get to a supermarket this time around, you have different sections where the materials are displayed for people to come and, buy. Now, in this case, you discover that there are a lot of stocks inside the supermarket. Then ordinarily, the standard is that in the construction of that supermarket, because of the nature, and then because it's not only even one story, it's about 2-3 stories there. Now, they're supposed to have different kind of exits. Different kind of exit from the first floor to the maybe ground floor to the first floor, and then second floor, like that. There should be exits. So different number of, and this number of exits will be determined by the number of people that will be flowing in and out of that supermarket. Of course, that was not there.
That was not there, and so that was a major challenge.
It's a major challenge. And then coupled with the fact that, you see, some of the items that were there, are very, very highly flammable items.
Well, in many of these stores like that, you get a highly flammable items.
And therefore, when there is any little, flame anywhere, easily such kind of a place can be very, very terrible. You can have very terrible experience in terms of fire. So that's exactly what I think happens at Ibano. When it comes to the talks of the firefighting devices and all the rest of them, I think they tried, because I'm sure our officers have been there one or couple of times, and then they have seen that those fire defense equipment like fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, and
they are there.
In place.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about those equipment. Very quickly, we are talking fire and fire safety. Do well to send in your questions and inquiries or contributions on any issue of fire. Do you want to know some safety measures? Do you want to know hotlines, if any? Do send the numbers. Do send your questions or comments to 081-177-82020. And I'm having a chat with Assistant Controller Kayode John of the FCT Fire Service. And we just talked about the Prince Ebanov supermarket fire here in the FCT. It happened sometime in July. And still in Abuja, later on in the year, we had another fire, and this time is at the, you know what I want to say. The next cash and carry, also here in the FCT. We're going to talk Lagos in a bit here in the FCT. Now, for the next cash and carry, it's different. It's wider, it's spacious. The entries, there are a couple of entries. So what was the challenge for them? I witnessed that one. Like, I actually saw it go down to ash.
All right, next cash and carry issue is another game. The issue is that now, fine, you have said it that next cash and carry was well constructed. They have enough exits, and then they have fire defense equipment in place. They even have hydrant there. And no, the issue here is this. Now, look at how the next cash and carry operates. First, on a normal day, like the day it happens, the cleaners have to come in there around 6 a.m. in the morning, and they have to work for 2 hours to clean everywhere, put everywhere in place. And then within that, by 8 o'clock, they will have to, leave another gap of about, the workers, the regular workers will be coming in. When they come in, everybody will be there doing their normal setups, and the rest of them put the systems in place, look at the last stock of the previous day or whatever, and the rest of them, before they will now open up to the customers by 12 o'clock. On this fateful day,
that's the background. Tell us about the firefighting.
Now, I'm trying to say that this is still under investigation anyway. We are still investigating it, and we're interrogating some people over the issue of that, the cause of that fire. But of course, it happens a little after 10, and then the regular workers resume.
Yes.
Just by 8 o'clock, and then by 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock they open. So between the time they resume and then the time that they were supposed to, by 10 o'clock, a little after 10, when that fire happens, it should have been that in the course of setting up the place or the rest of them like that, there's an electrical issue. And then within that time, it was not noticed in time. Because it was not noticed in time, it has become something very terrible, because, like I told you, they have a lot of materials that are highly flammable in that place. You have a lot of air conditioning systems that have compressed gases. We have some very dry plastic materials all over the places.
Okay.
And all of these are highly flammable.
We'll come back to continue our talk on next. But you know what? I think we can go in to let's talk about the season that we're in, because many people say the Harmattan season is part of the trigger for this. So when we get back from talking Harmattan, you will conclude on next and we'll talk about Harmattan a little more. All right, so let's talk about Harmattan season as it triggers fires across the country.
Not everyone likes the Harmattan season, which comes with low humidity, cold, dryness, and dusty weather that often makes one sick. Though it varies from state to state, the Harmattan weather typically starts between the end of November till sometime in February or March, with temperatures ranging from about 9 degrees Celsius to 33 degrees Celsius.
One of the most frequent disasters and incidences that happen, as far as this country is concerned and in several countries of the world, is fire. And on a daily basis, even during Harmattan or not during Harmattan, there's always that case of fire, but it's just that it's rampant now.
While flu and dryness of skin are experienced by many during this period, the season is almost characterized by incessant fire outbreaks.
And why it's rampant is, during this period, the humidity, dry weather, the normal season of this nature where you have this kind of dry nature of virtually everything, you are precipitated to having fire incidents.
Here are some fires fueled by the Harmattan weather. Unattended to burning candles or other naked flames. Since almost everything around is dry, a naked burning candle is a perfect trigger for a flame and the air is a good transporter. It is usual for bushmeat and rabbit hunters to attract their prey by setting bushes ablaze. This practice during this time is a risk and a very high one. If you live close to uncultivated or grassy land, do yourself some good by ensuring it is always neatly cut during this period. Besides waste burning being injurious to the climate, burning them during Harmattan season can cause fires to go out of control. In some parts of northern Nigeria, temperatures soar as high as 36 to 39 degrees Celsius, which is above the flash point of some daily used hydrogen-carbon fuels, meaning that with a very little spark, the rest will be a story.
When there's a fire is that if you have the knowledge, if you are trained, that's the basic training for you to use extinguisher, which is normal. Everybody is supposed to have extinguisher and fire blanket and so many other fire, devices that we can use for the first aid, which is mean the incipient stage. So at that stage, if you have the knowledge, you approach it and ensure that you extinguish it. But beyond that, when it goes beyond that level, then you just have to require the service of a fire service to come and intervene.
The number of fire outbreaks during Harmattan season takes a large chunk of the percentage of fire disasters recorded annually due to nature and especially human negligence. So, consider preventive measures instead of counting losses.
Yeah, I guess we need not there's not so much we can talk about it. The fact is Harmattan really actually triggers fire. And just before we had that, we were talking about some fires in markets, and we have talked about the Ebano market in the FCT. Then we moved on to Next Cash and Carry supermarket here in the FCT also. And these are two different structures, the way they were built. And so far, my guest, the Assistant Controller Kayode John of the FCT Fire Service, has tried to make us understand everything that has been okay. He has set the background for the Next Cash and Carry story, and now he's trying to explain to us the challenges that they face. So tell us, what happened? Why did the building go down so fast? When there were so many of you guys, other firefighters that we understand who came around, Julius Berger, NNPC, and the others.
Of course. The intensity of that fire was very high. That's why I was trying to give you the background. You see, it takes only between 0 to 60, seconds, 120 seconds, before you see the fire get out of hand. Within the 0 level to 120 seconds, you are just, at that point, it must have gone haywire. And that is what has happened in that place before the call was made to fire service.
So they didn't make the call in good time?
That's one thing. Then number two is that in terms of our arriving there, we arrived so fast, even less than the time that is expected, because the roads were free. It was Boxing
Yeah, it
Day,
was,
and then there was
yeah.
no. We had our Sokoro fire station, the headquarters here. We received the call, and then another call went to Gwarimpa fire station, which is just close by to the next cash and carry, and then as soon as Sokoro was arriving, so also the Gwarimpa station also arrived before the other agencies started coming in to support us. And what I want to know is that the issue of time in firefighting is one issue before a call is made to the fire service. And moreover, too, it is expected that in any building or any structure at all the fire safety facilities are supposed to be in place. And then everyone operating within such a structure should have a knowledge of how to, make use of the fire defense equipment in case there's any fire. So within next cash and carry, like I told you, in between the time the staffs resume and the time they were supposed to, open for the public, that was when the fire happens. So somehow,
Okay.
we will be able to investigate and when the report is out, we'll be able to know the actual thing.
Okay, we are still waiting for that report. I'm still waiting for that report. Now, let's take a couple of questions here. Hi, what is the FCT fire doing as regards sensitization and inspection of extinguishers? I'll take 3 questions and you answer them very quickly. Sensitization and extinguishers. Is there any program to train people on how to fight fire before the fire service experts arrive? Let's take those 2 very quickly.
Yeah, in terms of inspecting structures, that is our daily activities. We have a unit in our organization that's called Fire Prevention and Protection. That unit has that mandate to go ahead to sensitize the people to, the public enlightenment on the issue of fire safety, protection, and control. And that's what they do every day. So every day they resume at work by 8 o'clock in the morning and prepare themselves.
So they do that daily?
Every day.
So
that happens daily.
Is it possible that some people give them a whole lot of stress, like, don't get into my facility, or do they, because we need to know if they do that and they do that effectively, we should not be having as much as we are having.
Of course. You see, one thing is for you to inspect a place and be sure that the facilities are there. Another thing is that after you have left, in what activities are being carried out there, that's you can't control. It's not under your control. You could tell them, okay, you have a fire extinguisher, the right number in terms of quantity and in terms of quality. Yes, they are in place, and then they are strategically placed in place, and then you do a lecture for them. Okay, fine. Make sure you don't tamper. with your electrical fittings here. Make sure you do not keep petrol in there. What about after you leave the place? You can't control what they do. So some of these people, the activities within the structures are the ones that are responsible for the fire, most of the fire we have. And I must assure you that FC Fire Service is doing its best in enlightening the people, in checking. Go to petrol stations, go to plazas, go to hotels, go to everywhere. We are moving in. Now, the issue of having to visit even residential buildings now is also coming up.
Okay.
Because we have a law that backs us up now that we can enter into any structure to inspect and be sure that everything is in place.
Oh, okay. That's good. Please, we need that because many people will be giving you a whole lot of stress. Like, if I don't have it, I will tell you that my mother said I should not allow anybody enter into the house. Okay. We'll take these 2 next questions. Now, you're going to answer the next one on, is there any program to train people on fighting fire, just like first aiders before you come in? That's one. Then someone is asking, let's not forget water sprinklers. Did Abuja supermarket meet up with safety regulations? And this question is from Ismail Assam from Airport Road, Abuja.
We carry out what I say, the sensitization every day. And part of the sensitization is to show you what you need not to do and what you need to do in order to prevent fire. And then in case there's fire, what you're supposed to do. So every day we train the people. When we go to organization and then we inspect the place, we know the right, kind of fire defense equipment that is necessary there, whether it is, water sprinklers, whether it's fire extinguisher, whether it is smoke detector. We will give a report to you, formal report. And when the formal report is given to you, to tell you what you need to do, and then we'll supervise and make sure that this is exactly done. And we will show you, demonstrate to you how to make use of all these fire defense equipment. This is a regular thing we do every day. We go into institutions, we have to inform them we are coming, and then they will set a date. So
you have training?
Yeah, we have programs for every. This year has already started again. We have already set out our programs, and then we keep informing people ahead of time when we are going to be visiting.
Very quickly on sprinklers. Sprinklers.
Yeah. Sprinklers, yes, of course. Sprinklers there are some structures that are needed to have sprinklers. Not every structure that's supposed to have sprinkler. Yeah, it's not every structure. But when you have, structures that are confined, the way, you keep goods, and then there's not a place that you open every time. Of course, because of electrical issues, because you have to power the place, your lighting systems are there are sockets and all the rest of them like that. And at any point in time, you could be issue of this power surge and everything could happen. And that's why you have to have sprinkler there and drenchers, so that, and they work with automatic devices, FM200. FM200 is an automatic firefighting device that triggers off as soon as there's anything like heat or there's any. So that is what happens about the sprinkler.
You've just talked about sprinklers, and that is I want to ask a question on electric and on electricity, but that will be in a bit. All right, thank you very much for staying tuned to the NTA. This is the Medley Show, and of course we are talking fire and fire safety. And I've been having a chat with the Assistant Controller of the FCT Fire Service, Assistant Controller Kayode John. All right, while we went on that break, we had another guest. This time he is the President of Fire Disaster Prevention and Safety, an NGO headquartered here in Abuja. His name is Dr. Ahmed Badanga. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, we used to call him Mr. Fire. Oh yeah, so fireman, welcome on board the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes, the assistant controller here has been talking to us about many fire. Some of the instances we've looked at some market fires, and we've looked at the Ebano in Abuja and the FCT. So we want to move on to we'll take some more questions that have come in, but very quickly, let's talk about electricity. Have we tidied up on Harmattan?
No.
How does Harmattan really trigger fire? Because we know everywhere is dry. We're looking at firecrackers, for instance. Is it the cigarette you smoke and drop, or how really does Harmattan trigger fire? I don't know.
You see, one of the very, very important components of a fire is temperature, heat. So the condition or the level of temperature, every material has what we call a combustible temperature. That's the flash point at the point at which it go on flame. Therefore, the level of heat generated at a particular time, over any material, will determine whether it goes to flame or not. And that's why the Harmattan period is a very dry period, and that the temperature is a bit, on the high side. And then because of that, all the materials are really dried, and therefore, it has reduced the level of the flash point. So easily they can catch fire, and I think that's what happens.
Yeah, but what is our behavior, Ahmed? Our behavior that actually triggers this fire during Harmattan? Because we must have, if it's dry season, it's dry season. But there is a human behavior that would have triggered this. What are some of the things?
Thank you so much. I want to say critically now here from this point of view that one of the problem we are facing as far as fire service is concerned, or fighting fire is concerned, is that I said it the last time we had the first interview.
You had the chat here?
Yes, and I said that the President Muhammadu Buhari, have actually tried from 2 fire truck. We're having close to 200 fire truck, brand new truck now.
We'll talk about the equipment now. And I just want to talk about our attitude.
Yes, I'm coming there.
Okay.
I'm coming there. What I'm only trying to give you an intro for you to understand where we're coming from.
Okay, so
because for every problem, there must be a cause.
Yep.
So firefighting, as it were now, we're getting there somehow. But when it comes to awareness, less than 2% of Nigerian fire safety conscious. And the entire thing you're talking about behavioral, whether behavioral change is about awareness, is about knowledge, is about capacity building. So, and this is where we are lacking, and that is where the problem is. So our attitude towards fire is due to the fact that high level of people are ignorant. The attitude of people towards fire, is negative. So these are major factors that actually contribute to why we're having more. Because if you understand that if you are leaving your house, you need to switch off your electrical appliances. If you know that if you are in the kitchen, you need certain knowledge and basic knowledge for you to ensure that you keep the place safe. You are likely not going to have fire. So the behavior generally, as we speak, is all about lack of knowledge and attitude.
When we talk about switching off your electrical appliances while living, well, my fridge has to be on. So are there some exemptions, or tell us in simple terms, in what everybody can understand, when you say switching off your appliances?
Of course, technology has actually, advanced. And then this time around, you don't have direct flow of current even to these appliances. We have such arresters and such control, appliances, such that if the current is getting higher than what the appliance can take, the such arresters are supposed to, resist it and cut it off. So such kind of a thing is what we expect that people should, put in their, with their appliances. Why such like the freezer you are talking about, it has to be running, and because that's the reason why it's there. And moreover too, I'm sure it's also regulated, such that if it works over a little while, it cuts off again and then picks up again. So I think these are some of the things that could have been done. But more importantly, we should know that the condition of all these electrical fittings are in place. Over time, a lot of people have consolidated their houses, and then they have been using this thing for a long time, and these things are wearing out, and they are calling for change. But somebody is not even observing so well to know that some of these things are already malfunctioning.
Okay, so sometimes all those little partial contacts or some little naked cable.
Very important.
I have one plug that is naked.
Very, very important. That's it.
No, wait, let me just confess.
Culture.
Let me confess now.
Yeah.
I have this one small plug. The head of the plug has gone off, so I just usually take the two cables and I say, okay, let's put it like this.
No. That's very dangerous. It works.
I know,
but it has its own.
I know it's bad.
It has its own bad side. Yeah. That's it.
And these are part of the little things that.
Honestly, there is a reason why the plug is there.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So that's electrical. Anyhow, before we continue further, let's say we went on the street. We sought to know from people if they've had fire, they've been in incidents of fire before. What did they do? We just want to know sample opinion to know how much people know about fire safety and prevention. And this is what we brought back.
I witnessed a fire outbreak. Immediately happened. We look for water. We pour it. We use sand. We pour it. We cut leaf. We used to quench the fire.
I have a couple of times. First, I was shocked, and then what really got my attention was the screaming from the house, and then out of sympathy, I tried to rush and get water with detergent to see how we can put it off.
It was an industrial fire outbreak, and the first thing was to run away because it was a huge one.
I witnessed a fire. I'm on my way traveling to Jos. I saw a car go to fire, and the driver doesn't have a fire extinguisher. So I had to wait and bring my own fire extinguisher. Then the time that I brought the fire extinguisher, the fire got down. So I have to open it. In fact, he doesn't know how to operate the fire extinguisher. So I have to open it for him and use it.
While I was 11 years old, citing what the owners of the house, hearing what they are saying, I just ran back to my house. They were speaking in Hausa, although they are Igbo by tribe. They ina wanda ya yi sheriff ya zo mu laba, ina wanda ya yi sheriff ya zo mu laba, meaning that anybody who is a sheriff, if no sheriff, he doesn't fear fire. He can enter inside, even fire outbreak is taking place, he can enter there and pick whatever he wants. The fire will not touch him. So he is looking that type of person. So he say anybody who sabi that one, let him go and pick all things we can share. Then I pick rest to my house.
First of all, if you have this sack or whatever it is, first of all, use it to cover it before you attempt to bring other fire extinguish, or if there's fire this thing around, you attempt to off it. But the first attempt is to use sack to put it, to cover it, so that the thing will not, extended.
All right, then. Thank you very much. This is still the Medley Show with me, Cecil. All right, I'll take a few of your questions now. And this person is asking, okay, this is a question on awareness. We've taken that already. My comment is that Nigerian firefighters are really doing their job well. Just that in Nigeria, there is no way you can please them. May God continue to help us. Also, the Harmattan season causes fire incident because everywhere is dry. This is from Clara from Kubwa. Says you're doing a good job. At least that's someone that sees the good side of what you're doing. All right, and this person says the problem we're having with all this fire service is that they are not prompt enough. And okay, the problem we're having with all these fire services, they are not prompt enough. That is not their fault. So the thing is that whenever we hear their siren on the road, we should move away because the siren means that there is an emergency. I think you just mentioned something like that earlier, that sometimes the roads are all blocked, and even when you put on the siren, you say this is Nigeria where people don't listen to siren. But sometimes it's not our fault because sometimes these guys don't have anything. Maybe not you guys. Some of the siren users, they are just cruising on their own.
You can identify a fire truck.
Yes, okay, actually, for
with
a
the
fire
truck and the color, and then even the name of the place.
But because we have generally abused sirens, so that's why that's the problem.
Sorry.
But you know, in more developed countries where you have fire lane, a dedicated fire lane, it's easier.
Yeah.
But because we have not built our city in such a way that at the end of the day, because the city already now is, who say, or where do you want to go and create a new fire lane? You know, there's going to be a conflict there.
Okay,
So that's a very serious. This
we should have emergency lanes on our road. All right, who is this? Roslyn from Mina in Niger State says, what can we do before the arrival of fire service? Okay, that's Roslyn. And that brings me to our next question. First aid. There was a time on this program we discussed first aid in very many other incidents. Now, first aid in fire. What are the first things? If in a home, for instance, domestic, from the kitchen or from some electrical appliances, there's a fire, what's the first aid? What's the first thing we should do?
If there's a fire in any place, whether at home or at work or whatever, number one, you have to shift away from there. You have to just come out of the structure to escape, such at least to keep your life, and then not for you to be, affected by the fire.
But it's small. It starts small.
Oh, even it's small. That's another scenario entirely. A small fire that happens. Of course, you must have a knowledge of what you're supposed to do, and that's why we sensitize the people to know that number one, you had known that you have a fire. A defense equipment around you, like fire extinguisher, different type of them, the carbon dioxide or the dry chemical powder. Now, in this case, you have to go for the fire extinguisher, and then you must know how to, depending on
operating it.
That is the point. I think what you are trying to say is that a fire in an incipient stage, if most like you have rightly put it, the first thing you should do is your safety. Your safety. Because you don't want to put yourself. You don't want to put yourself in an harm's way. No matter you can always get those ones back. But if you are injured or you are permanently have permanent injury, you can't revert it in some cases.
That's it.
So at the second stage, what you should do is first, there's a fire. You need to know whether you are safe in trying to fight it. That if you have the knowledge. First, you must have that capacity to be able to do it. Yes, I have the capacity. I have the basic knowledge, to operate extinguisher. So if you know, then you would say, okay, at this stage, let me use my extinguisher. So then, if it now goes beyond that, then you now have to move from the building or from the surrounding where there's a fire. Then you need to now, engage the fire service by calling them so that they can come for help.
Operating a fire extinguisher is so difficult. Is it not just to just carry that thing and just press that thing out?
Of course, an extinguisher has several parts. You have the headset, and then you have the body itself. And then the headset itself is where you actually control the discharge of either the gas or the powder. Now, fine. So, and then of course it's protected. There's a safety pin that protects the headset. If you don't remove the safety pin, there's no way you can operate. And I think that's where the problem is with a lot of people. When you are we have an emergency, of course, your psyche is already affected. Yeah. And then you are emotional, of course. You are scared and all the rest of them. So you're already destabilized. So now, at that point, some of the people may even forget that You're supposed to remove the pin and you just carry the fire extinguisher.
Like that, though,
you are just.
Where is the pin? The pin is at the.
It's at the headset. You will see it. It has a round, head like this, and then the head goes into the headset. So you see it there with one rubber holding it. Red rubber holding it, and then when you remove it, then you can easily press the plunger.
And direct. And do I have a distance I have to be?
Of course, safety distance is there. That's what he has just talked about. Everything you are doing about fire, safety, and safety all the way. Is the environment safe? Then yourself, even when you carry the fire extinguisher, the way you are going to apply, because you're supposed to apply it at a particular direction, not into the flame. You have to get to the seat of the fire itself.
Yes.
That's another point again. So you have to. It's a calculated thing.
Okay, wait, guys. You guys are all the experts here, and this thing is almost sounding like Spanish and Swahili to me right now. Okay, so I understand that we're going to fight the fire like then the fire starts small. Every fire starts small and sudden boom. Okay. So when it starts small and I'm trying to get my extinguisher, should I call the fire service or I would just, it's something I can manage? I don't need to call them.
Of course.
At what point
you can call the fire service as soon as you discover fire.
Yeah.
Then you can now begin to do your own management. You understand? Since it's safe, like I said, you have the requisite device around you and you have the knowledge of operating it, and then you can just do something. So because if you allow it, like I told you, within 0 seconds and then 120 seconds, 2 minutes, I'm telling you, it has become something.
Oga Kayode, you agree with me that gas and petrol fire, I don't see any small thing there, and I don't think it's something I can quickly just fight it and extinguish it, because it just goes boom. Or tell us, how does that fire work?
The issue of gas fire is still about, there's no way you can operate a gas station without automating some of the machines that works there, and that's electricity is coming in this case.
Okay.
So, and then moreover, some of the containers that are brought in that have to be refilled, somehow in terms of moving it from one point to the other, they roll it, they drag it, and then you see when there is all this friction with either the floor, it could be iron floor, it could be concrete floor. Then you see sparks of fire begin to come from there, and all of this. So it would either be these sparks, it could also be the electrical thing. Some of the machines that have been working, they are heated up, and somehow you could see flames just go out from there. One of the wires may have just given up, and then there's a little spark from the partial contact, but then because the environment is charged, that is where you see that it goes
up into flame.
It's true. I think last week or thereabout, I had an interview with NNPC program, and specifically on petrol tanker fires and filling station. And I said that I said it clearly that the injury and the economic the Nigerians suffer from petroleum and gas fires is not easy. And the one of the problem in that sector generally is regulatory issue. There's a lot of problem about regulation.
Well, regulation. Okay, well maybe regulation, because when the tanker explosion always happen fast. At the point last year was like seeming every month there's at least one tanker explosion.
Yes, it's regulation to a very large extent, because most times, for instance, people scope fuel. If a tanker falls, most times people scope fuel.
So the tanker falling is not the cause of the fire. Is people.
Sometimes the tanker can fall. But if the degree of fall, and like I told you, if there was no impact with the tanker itself and then the ground, the coal tar, and there's no spark, it remains there. Most times they call us for emergency, and then we move in there, and then we try to protect them while they try to, they draw away the content from the falling tanker to another one under safety cover. You understand? But it's a situation where when this thing happens and then you see some people within the surrounding comes around and even do more damage to the tanker, they try to find a way of getting it open so that they can, scoop the fuel.
Yes, the same thing happens to when you talk about pipeline. Pipeline ruptures. Why I mention regulatory most times is that we have had cases where if there is proper monitoring of the pipeline, you discover that if it ruptures, fixing it, the time you use in fix it, if you fix it on time, people would not be tempted to go and scoop the fuel. And some are willful damage by people who go there to willful damage it and take the fuel. So there's a need for that synergy between the fire service, the regulators, then the DPR, which is not longer there, and
I like prevention. Besides prevention, at the gas station and this fire happens, what's the first thing we should do? Because that is a big fire. It's not fire something I can fight alone. Or there's something that the gas station owner or whoever people watching can actually do to quickly manage this fire before you come.
Most filling stations have, if you go, there are basic things that a filling station should have. Yes, there's a basic fire. That's it. Expected standard they are supposed to have in a filling station.
Okay,
because it's a high risk area.
Yes.
It's a very high risk.
But they keep telling us not to use our phone at the fuel station.
Of course. The reason is because the phone you are carrying, has a network around it. Good. That's why you can reach, somebody can reach you all the way from Abana because there's a network, a wireless network. Now, it generates, some energy. There's what we call the electrons and the protons, positive and negative charges. All this had, in science, when the negative and the positive charges comes together, it bursts to flame.
It bursts to flame. Okay.
So those tiny flames under a charged environment where you have either the gas or the fuel flame, anything can happen.
Okay, well, we've been educated so much, and we've seen the very many ways that fires can start. And next, it's when all these fires happen, whether it is car, it is domestic, it's industrial, market, something that comes in is insurance. I know when, for instance, the next cash and carry fire happened, everybody say, hey, I hope they're insured, though. Hey, there are many businesses in there. I hope they're insured. Insurance is very important. Anyhow, we also had a chat with an insurance expert in this feature we put together on insurance. He talked to us about how fire insurance works.
Insurance is an arrangement by which a company or the state undertakes to provide a guarantee of compensation for specified loss, damage, illness, or death in return for payment of a specified premium. While taking an insurance, it is always good to add other things your insurance can cover, like health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, fire insurance, and many more. All these are to ensure that if something happens, the insurance company or the state will take care of the damages. Fire insurance is a legal contract which guarantees that any loss or damages caused to the policyholder's property in a fire will be paid by the insurance company. Here are some of the reasons why taking a fire insurance policy is good. 1. Fire insurance is a property insurance that provides additional coverage for loss or damage to a building damaged or destroyed in a fire. 2. Fire insurance may be given at a rate that is less than the cost of losses accrued. 3. The policy pays the policyholder back on either a replacement cost basis or an actual cash value basis for damages. Although some homeowners' insurance policies include fire coverage, they may not be extensive enough for some homeowners, meaning that the policy taken may just be the basic policy which only covers a few things.
Lightning. Lightning when it is raining or about to rain. Once lightning happens, it also can ignite fire, can start fire. Like you can see all those bush fires outside the shores of Nigeria. That's 2. And then the third thing the standard fire policy covers is explosion. Explosion. But this explosion is qualified of gas used for domestic purposes only. That is to say, if your gas in the kitchen, as often happens, explodes and it causes fire to the building or part of a building and damage some property, the insurance will cover it.
If you want to expand from the basic coverage, one must pay extra for the premium which covers storm, tempest or flood, burst pipe, earthquake, aircraft and articles dropped from them, civil commotion, malicious damage, impact by vehicles and explosions. However, there are some risks which are exempted from the policy coverage on the insurance policy.
If you have insurance, have you followed the conditions? One of the conditions that could vitiate your contract of insurance is arson. If you set your house on fire, that you no longer like that house, and then you expect insurance to pay, which is against public policy. In fact, you could be charged for a criminal offense, even if it is your property.
In conclusion, you must understand the policy conditions before opting for a fire insurance policy. This will guide your actions while the insurance policy is in force, as well as ensure a seamless claim process in the event of a claim.
Alright, this is still the Medley Show on the NTA, and my name is Cecil. If you're just joining us, I'm sorry, you have missed a whole lot. We've talked fire, safety, and prevention as we went on with the program, but it's okay. You can watch the program, the repeat of the program on our YouTube series, which is NTA series /programs and / the Medley Show, and of course you get to see other of the NTA programs on that YouTube channel. I've been having my chats with the Assistant Controller of the FCT Fire Service, Kayode John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And also with Dr. Ahmed Badanga of the Fire Disaster Prevention and Safety. He is the president. Thank you very much. A last word for me before you go.
We should always get prepared. We should not assume it's going to happen to us, because accidents can happen at any time. So we need to build our capacity as individuals, because there's no amount you invest in your safety that is not important. So try as much as possible to ensure that you are always equipped. You know, if fires happen suddenly, it's an accident that can happen at any time. No matter how you prevent, no matter how you put the measure, sometimes it happens. It's accident. So
it's an accident. You can't preempt it. All right. Quickly from you, I would like to hear your last word. Well, just before your last word, people talk about Hotline. How can they reach you? I mean, are there FCT and national if you have it?
Okay, we have the emergency number for the headquarters. That's 09-290-6118.
Oh, that's long.
09
Okay.
290 6118.
6118. Okay.
That takes you straight to our control room, and wherever the fire is happening, I'm sure there is a station close to you, and then the control room will also link that fire station to move on to the address you give. Then we also have the national call center number. That's 112.
Okay, good. What about, does that one work?
It works.
Does it work?
It works.
Okay, all right. Anyhow, so I guess when from that it can link us to any other area council.
Depending on what the situation, the emergency is, will be, if it's something that has to do with crime, police. If it's something that has to do with health, they have to get the ambulance.
Okay.
If it has to do something with a fire, you get the fire service.
All right. So the last word from you, if you can make it in a sentence or two.
Well, I want to say that everybody should just be responsible. Don't be a reason for why fire will happen. But if anyone happens, try and get to the fire service as fast as possible. Make sure you have the emergency number with you, and then you can just name it fire. Just put fire on it so that you won't have to struggle for it when there's emergency.
Yeah, it's very important. I like that part. Just get the number and put fire. The number is also going to be shown on the screen. Put fire on it and get to make sure that you stay away from anything that causes fire. You know all the lessons we've enumerated here today. Prevention is always definitely better and cheaper than cure. We know, God forbid, it's our usual language. Yeah, God forbid, but still be prepared. Anything can happen. Thank you very much. My name is Cecil, and you've been watching the Medley Show with me, Cecil. Let's do this again next week.